All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 263 of the Restoring Rapport podcast. We are super excited for the content we've got planned out for you guys today. As always, this is a podcast for young believers who are pursuing the goal of marriage and family, trying to get married as young as possible in a healthy way. I'm your host, Seth Hensley. I come on twice a week, every week on Thursday and Sunday to kind of equip you in your pursuit of getting married young and try to give you as many tools as I can to help you in your pursuit of that goal. Hopefully, if you are that target audience, this episode is going to generate a lot of value for you. Today, I'm going to be going over something that you're all going to have to go through if you're trying to get married, and that is obtaining a marriage license. And I'm going to talk about all the steps and how to do that, kind of the process through which you're going to walk in your application, and what you're going to need going into the marriage license application process. And the first thing you're going to do, we're also going to go through Google's top 10 questions on how to get married in the state of Ohio. If you're local and listening to my voice, if you're in the Ohio area, this is going to generate a lot of value for you, but most states have a similar process. So if you're not from the state of Ohio and you're still looking to get married young, the process through which you're going to obtain a marriage license is going to be very similar, even though you're from a different state. But with that being said, this is going to generate more value for you if you're from Ohio. And the reason I chose Ohio is because my wife and I are Ohio residents, and obviously neither of us had been married before. And so the first time we did this, we kind of had to figure it out as we went. And because, you only want to get married one time, it's kind of hard to know what's coming for you in the application process because you've never done it before. And so I'm going to try and give you all of that information here. So if you're listening to this, you're either getting married soon or you plan to get married one day. So congratulations for that. You're making an awesome decision. You can do this. You're putting in the work now. So this is awesome. Really excited for you. But first, let's go through Google's top 10 questions on how to get a marriage license in Ohio. If you're subscribed to the show, you can read along with us using the screen that I'm sharing here for you. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can do the same. Again, if you want to follow us there, just go to Seth Hensley and then click on my profile picture, and all of our videos that we do should be there. We have over, I don't even know how much. We've done over 260 podcasts, but as far as videos go, the YouTube channel is fairly new, so we probably have, 20 up on there for you guys to watch maybe. But I like doing the visuals too. It's a fun little, addition to how you can learn from the show. But Google's top 10 questions for how to get a marriage license in Ohio, as you can see, are what do you need to do to get a marriage license in Ohio? They're going to say to apply for a marriage license, you must both visit the probate court of the county where one of you lives. And that was what Lainey and I did. So that so far is accurate to me. It says if neither of you is an Ohio resident, you must apply in the county where the marriage will be performed. So if you're getting married in Ohio, but neither one of you lives in Ohio, you have to go to the probate court of the county where the marriage will happen. So wherever you're getting married and you're going to have the officiate there marry you, you have to go to that county and apply for the marriage license if neither one of you is an Ohio resident. Their second question here is, can you get married the same day you get your marriage license in Ohio? Google says there is no waiting period in Ohio, meaning you can get married on the same day. The couple must be of the legal age 18 years old to obtain the marriage license. I actually do think you can get married younger than 18. You just have to have parental consent for both parties. As I'm going to show you later in the video, I'm actually going to go through my marriage license application for you guys, show you kind of all that we had to answer, all that we had to bring to the probate court in order to get the marriage license, and kind of give you all the details there so that you know what you need to have going in. Google's next most asked question is, what is the difference between a marriage license and a marriage certificate in Ohio? And that is going to be a marriage license legally allows you to marry. A marriage certificate proves that you got married. And so the marriage license is going to be what the minister or the officiate that is legally allowed to conduct and facilitate the marriage signs at the end. And that's going to be the yellow piece of paper with a government seal on it that says marriage license at the top. And then the marriage certificate is just proof that the marriage took place. What is the fastest way to get married in Ohio? It says the probate court issues marriage licenses in Ohio. So again, the probate court is where you're going to need to go. Does Ohio require a blood test for marriage license? And the reason I think behind this question is you obviously can't be close. You can't be related if you're getting married. Closer, I believe, than second cousins is what the marriage documents say in the state of Ohio. So the reason some places may ask, some probate courts may ask for a blood test is to prove that you're not related to the person you're trying to marry. But in Ohio, they did not actually ask my wife and I for this. So that is not going to be information I think that you need going in. At least I got married a year ago, and obviously I've only done it one time. But to the best of my memory, I don't think I had to provide any. No, I definitely did not. I definitely did not provide any blood information. Didn't take any blood tests or anything like that. I don't even think they asked me if I was related to Lainey, which is really funny. But the paper that I signed does state very clearly that nobody closer than second cousins can be married in the state of Ohio. So that is covered there. It says, how much does it cost? I actually can answer this for sure. It says, Google says an Ohio marriage license costs between $40 and $75. This varies according to county. Some counties, such as the Stark County Probate Court, donate a portion of the marriage license fees to shelters to support victims of domestic violence. Ours costed $40. Our marriage license costed $40. There is a catch, though. You're going to want to go in with cash. And this is a mistake that I made in the marriage application process. I went in thinking you could just do a card payment, and that is not the case at the marriage probate court in the county where I'm from, Lawrence County. You have to have cash. They did have an ATM downstairs, but it actually ended up costing me like $6 to $10 extra to get my money out of the bank in order to get $20 cash. And so go in with cash, be prepared so they don't charge you that extra fee. A lot of times government, when you have government business at your local courthouse, they're going to charge you to use a card. Now, I think usually they just charge you $3, but I would still just go in prepared and have your $40 cash if you're going to apply for a marriage license. And again, this information is up to date, according to my knowledge, as of July in 2023. So fairly recently, they charged me and my wife $40 for a marriage license. That could change, I assume. But Google is still saying it's between 40 and 75, so it shouldn't cost you that much. It says, do you need witnesses to get married in Ohio? Google says the ceremony requirements are to be legally married in Ohio. You must have a ceremony that meets certain requirements. The ceremony must be conducted in the presence of the officiant and at least 2 witnesses. The next question is, how long is a marriage license good for in Ohio? 60 days. And I think this is up to date as well. Basically what this means is once you go in and apply for the marriage license and they give you that piece of paper, you have to have the officiant sign that and return it within a 60-day period, or the marriage license will be voided. And so that's something that your officiant or your minister or your pastor, whoever's marrying you, which by the way, it does not have to be a pastor. My dad actually married Lainey and I, and he has not been to seminary or been a pastor at all. And so you can get someone who is not a minister, an ordained minister, to facilitate your marriage. They just have to go through a series of steps. But that person is going to basically have to sign your marriage license within 60 days. Otherwise, it's going to be voided. I'm pretty sure it's within you after you get the marriage license. It's within you. It has to be signed and returned to the courthouse within 60 days, or it's going to be voided. So don't get your marriage license, a year out. Don't get your marriage license like a season or 2 out before you get married. You're going to want to go get this relatively close to the date on which you actually get married. And again, that's if you're doing not a courthouse wedding, but a wedding at a specific location. It says, it says the next question that Google has for how to get your marriage license in Ohio is, how long do you have to be together for common law marriage in Ohio? This is something I actually don't know. But it says, for example, the couple must meet the age and degree of kinship requirements referenced above. There must also be proof of cohabitation. Contrary to popular belief, there's no minimum amount of time the couple has to be living together. The couple must also prove, this is interesting. Contrary to popular belief, there's no minimum amount of time the couple has to be living together. So there has to be proof of cohabitation in order for common law marriage to take effect. But contrary to popular belief, there's no minimum amount of time the couple has to be living together. So basically, common law marriage can occur super early, and there's no time period you have to meet where you're considered married and living together. Very interesting. Proof of cohabitation, that would just be like bills or utilities, probably. Some kind of proof, maybe mail that's addressed to both of you to prove that you live in the same place. But obviously, as a show for young believers, I wouldn't recommend living with somebody prior to getting married to them. Not that there's anything wrong, morally wrong, I would say, per se, according to Scripture, with strictly speaking, living with someone. I think the actual danger there is, again, the sexual temptations that could arise from being in such close proximity with somebody of the opposite sex who you are not married to. So again, you can place yourself in a situation where you have too much opportunity for sin to gain a foothold in your life, even if you're not cohabiting. Like if you're just hanging out with, an attractive woman your age who you find yourself drawn to in a one-on-one setting all the time. I mean, I would say that's just as bad an idea as cohabiting, honestly, because again, once you cross these sexual boundaries, these sexual lines with somebody you don't know is going to stick around, not only does Scripture say it's wrong to fornicate, but it's just common sense wrong, because you get more and more involved with somebody who can then bail at any time and leave you with kind of these emotional soul ties. And it's just a really bad situation to find yourself in. People who've had their heart broken will tell you that, their separation was, the difficulty of their separation was multiplied by the amount of sexual boundaries, that were crossed with that person. And I would say even emotional boundaries. I would say, the attachment process begins way before the sexual boundaries are crossed. There's emotional boundaries as well. And so just make sure you're always guarding yourself. I know this is common sense. Everyone, for the most part, will agree if you're listening to this show, but there are reasons why morality is structured the way that it is. There are reasons why God set up the world to work in the way that it does. And this level of relational closeness that marriage affords, particularly on the sexual and emotional level, is not something that you can, safely enter outside the context of marriage. There's very serious risk to that, especially in the realm of getting your heart broken, having children, with somebody who's not, said they're going to stick around, STDs, things like this. And so just be very aware of that. But it says the next question that Google gives for people who are asking how to get a marriage license in the state of Ohio is, what documents do I need for a marriage license in Ohio? And this is a big one. This is going to be super important. It says valid identification, driver's license, state ID, birth certificate, passport, or other immigration and naturalization services, confirmation page or tracking number, file stamped copy of your most recent divorce decree. So basically, you're going to need valid ID. That's what you're going to need. For most people, that's going to be a driver's license, where my wife actually doesn't drive. She has a government ID, a state issued ID that she uses that she used for us to get married. I guess it says a passport is also considered a valid form of ID for a marriage. I actually did not know that. The next question, though, is how do you change your last name in Ohio? This is a question my wife would better be able to answer. Hopefully, I'll have her on this show sometime soon to talk about the process she went through to do that. I know we had to go to the Social Security office locally to where we were and file an application, which it's going to talk about here. It says the first step in changing your name in Ohio is to get a court order recognizing your name change. The typical steps are file an application in the probate court of the county you live in, publish notice of a hearing about your application, and attend a hearing about your application in the probate court. I don't think Lainey and I had to attend a hearing. This is probably for people who are wanting to change their name without getting married. Lainey changed her name. All she had to do was basically go into the Social Security office and give them our marriage documents with her name signed Elena Catherine Hope Hensley instead of Elena Catherine Hope Payne. And I think that they were able to give her a new Social Security card. And the process for changing her driver's license was a little bit different than that. But I'll try to have her on here to discuss that. It says, what happens when you get married? Once you're married, you'll receive numerous rights and benefits. It says how to get ordained in Ohio. This is what my dad actually had to do. Actually, he didn't get ordained. You can get a 1 day authorization to conduct and facilitate and officiate a wedding and be the officiate of a wedding. And it's only good for 1 day. And I don't know what it's called. I'll have to hopefully have him on soon to talk about that. But you can get ordained online now. So that's just a really cool thing that you can do now. I didn't want to have a minister do my wedding for a number of reasons. I think my dad is closer to me than I will ever be close to a minister. I think my dad has more authority over me than a minister. I think I'm for obvious reasons. I wasn't growing up in house church. There wasn't a minister that I became close to at all in any way, and so the natural course of action for me was to have my dad do it. There's nobody I would rather do it than my dad, and so I wanted to have him do it, and he could do it because you can now get ordained online to conduct, again, a 1 day valid wedding officiation license. I don't know what it's called, but hopefully I'll find more information. I might do a whole episode on how to do that. One of my cousins has done it before. He's a little older than me, so you don't have to be, there's no age requirement. I don't think you can do it fairly young, but I know you can do it, which is super cool. But now what I kind of want to do is transition into going through my actual marriage license application and kind of showing you guys exactly what these people in the probate court are going to ask you to present when you go in and ask for your marriage license. And I'm going to give you really easy things that you're going to need to know and bring into the probate court in order to get married. And I'm going to share this real quick here for you to see. This is my marriage license application. They obviously ask for your name. Both of these apply for both you and your partner. They ask for your name, date of birth, residence, your birthplace. Birthplace was the tricky one. I do remember that. You're going to want to know the hospital you were born in, or at least the county you were born in. I think they actually asked the hospital though, so know that information going in before. They're going to ask you where you were born. A lot of people don't know that. You're going to want to know that in order to get married. They're going to ask you your occupation, what you do for a living. So you're going to have to give them that. They're going to ask you the names of your parents. And so you're going to have to give them the names of your parents. Probably maiden name for your mom. Obviously, you probably know your mom's maiden name, but they're probably going to ask for your mom's maiden name. They're going to ask you if you've been previously married. Obviously, you can't go in and get married if you're already married. They're going to ask you, let's see here. Oh, if you're a minor, this is going to be different. I got married at the age of 24. My wife got married at the age of 21. So we did not have to have our parents there in order to go in and file the marriage license application. We just had to have ourselves there. And so if you're young, which again, this show is really good for you if you want to get married young. I mean, I think that's a wonderful thing. It's a great thing to spend as much time of your life as you can with your partner in a committed relationship where you know they're not going to leave. I think some people disagree with me on that, but again, if you're listening to this show, you'll probably agree with me. And so if you're doing that, good for you. Kudos to you. And I want to do anything I can to help you in that, but you're going to have parents there if you are going into get married in Ohio and apply for a license. You're going to have their parents there. And it's going to say the undersigned upon their oath state that the facts set forth in this application are to the best of their knowledge, hereby true, and hereby consent to this marriage. So the parents are going to have to sign that, basically saying that you did tell the truth on this application and that they consent to this marriage as well as you. The deputy clerk's going to have to sign it. You're going to have to sign it with your partner. So practice your signature. I know a lot of people don't do that, but if you want to have a good signature, practice your signature. I just do it to the best of your ability. It's not a big deal. If you don't want to have a super nice signature on there, it doesn't matter. The judge is going to sign it. The deputy clerk's going to sign it. They're going to date it. And then it's going to say at the bottom, I do hereby certify that on the 7th or on the 13th of July, 2023, I solemnize the marriage of Seth Gray Hensley with Elena Catherine Hope Payne. It was filed or recorded on this date, and the minister was Jeffrey C. Hensley. So that was my dad. So basically what happened is they gave us the marriage certificate at the bottom. They put the date on it. Actually, no, I'm sorry. What they did was they filled out the top portion. We filled out the top portion there in the probate court. And then at the bottom there, that marriage certificate number, that was filled out when they received the marriage license from Dad, who officiated our wedding. So he signed it, said that he married us, and then sent it into the courthouse. And they then filled that out according to what he had told them, I think. And that's kind of what you're going to need to know. As far as what to bring, you're going to need ID. I would bring Social Security card just in case, but I don't think you have to have it. In the state of Ohio, I don't think you have to have a Social Security card. You just have to have a valid form of ID. So driver's license would be your most common. Again, you can Google kind of what are other valid forms of ID in the state of Ohio. But not that bad, guys. I mean, I think it took us 20 minutes to apply for a marriage license when we went in, my wife and I. So super easy, cost $40, not that bad at all. And again, all of this is according to my memory. It could have costed a little bit more, something like that, but I don't think so. I think I have the receipt and it costed $40. So hopefully this episode has generated value for you. Hope you guys have enjoyed listening. Hope it's answered some of your questions as to kind of, number one, what you're going to need to take in to the probate court when you apply for a marriage license. Number two, how to apply for a marriage license to begin with, where you need to go, etc. And then number three, I hope it's giving you some things that you can avoid to, prevent yourself problems when you go through this application process. So if it has given you that value, reach out and let me know what you thought of this episode through the link in the show notes. You can send me a personalized audio voice message giving me thanks, questions, comments, feedback, and alternate perspective, your story, anything at all. I would love to hear from you. It would make me feel super connected to you as an audience member, to hear you in your own voice. And it would make this podcasting system two-way. I love hearing from you on social media. Please reach out there as well. But I just personally like to hear from you in your own voice. So send this podcast a voice message again using that link in the show notes of every single episode, no matter where you listen. You can also watch the show on YouTube now. So consider that if you're interested. So thank you guys so much for listening today, and we will talk to you all next time.